My name is Natacha. I am a professor of architecture and urbanism here in Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, Brazil. And thank you very much, Professor Marcelo Tramontano and Professor Nilce Aravecchia for this invitation. I'm happy to talk with you and your colleagues and students, and I'll try to speak my bad English for you. So sorry for something that you didn't that you couldn't understand. Well, I am in touch of the Chinese culture for 6 years, just for 6 years, during these last 6 years, since the pandemic times. So in that moment, we initiate to study China and study other continents, that it's not just Latin America and Europe and the United States, but we try to use that pandemic time to know more about Asian architecture. And then we start to have some classes, online classes, and we start to travel around the world through this new way of giving class that time. So China was our most important territory in that moment. We were very, very impressive. I think it's this way to talk to tell this, but with the way of China was treating the population and trying to construct hospitals and many equipments that could save people in that time. So this was very, very important for us. And suddenly we had a lot of students very interested in this issue. So we start to study the Silk Road. And the Silk Road, and also we were trying to study the BRICS plus group that was beginning to increase. And even with our Dilma Rousseff, president, ex-president and president of Brazil, but now president of Bank of BRICS. So we were very interested in the global South. So I will talk about this and show some of activities that we were trying to develop, to understand more Asia, and also other countries, not just China, but also Singapore and other countries around Asia. Well, so this class here, this conversation between us is about the cultural roots and the comparative analysis that we made between 10,000 Mile Tea Road and the Coffee Road Cultural Monument in Brazil. And this was one research that we are developing together, professors and the students, and the university, that the name is HUST, that is one university in Wuhan, China, that has a connection with my university here in Belo Horizonte, that is UFMG. So we have here the Confucius Institute, and the Confucius Institute made this connection between us and our colleagues in HUST, Wuhan. And we have a research group that the name is GOPT, Geopolítica and Territorial Planning, Geopolítica e Planejamento Territorial. And we have one information that I think that if you are interested in our work and how we beginning this research, we made, after 2 years of pandemic times, we made one exhibition in our architecture school that the name is Expo China. We have a site, we have a website that we have in this website, including a book that we made about this exhibition. And we have also one initial paper that is almost a manifest, almost something very political paper that calls Desynchronizing the West, New Vectors of Development from the South. So thank you, Professor Marcelo Tramontano, because this very nice journal is Virus Journal, Journal Virus, and we had this opportunity to begin to our research. And in this PowerPoint here, we have in the end some links for this production. Well, and then this is the exhibition that we made at that time. Many informations in this conversation that I will show you, many images. It's from the PhD thesis of Gabriela Bittencourt that I will show for you. That now she published a book about her thesis, and some images we bring from this production. But this is some images of our project of this exhibition in our school. Now I'll talk to you about some points that we think that is very important to understand how we construct this specific research that I will talk about, comparing the tea and the coffee territorials and way of lives. So we first made our PhD, post-PhD, two professors, me and Professor Marcelo, and two PhD, part of PhD of Gabriela Bittencourt and Danilo Caporali. They were my students in that time. And then we approved one research that is construction of territorial development indicator involving large-scale infrastructure and transnational integration projects. So we went to China in 2023 to develop this research, and we've together the professors in China, in Wuhan, we create one institute research center that the name is UFMG Plus Territorial Planning and Cultural Heritage, because we found in Hust many researchers that were involved with cultural heritage in that moment. So we began to construct our partnership with these two issues. Then we approved, when we went back to Brazil, we approved another research that is Buen Vivir, Eco-Civilization, Health, Architecture and Cultural Landscape, constructing technological guidelines for a high-quality development in times of alternative and multipolar globalization. So we have many collaborators in this research that is from UFMG, HUST, Universidad Central del Ecuador, and Universidad de los Andes in Colombia. And then after that, I went again to China in November of 2024, actually 2023, but and we try to construct many joint design studios that I will show one to you, and we begin this comparative analysis between the Great Tea Route and the Coffee Route National Monument, because in that time, in November of 2023, the President Lula just signed the legislation about this coffee route. So here is just an image to show you where is Hubei, that is a province of China, and where is Wuhan inside Hubei. Here is one of our workshop, and we work also in the academic disciplines and some course together many different professors, and this was one of the workshop that we were constructing a Wuhan Atlas, 8 routes. So we construct this atlas visiting this space around Wuhan with the students. So we made 8 visits in many places, important places, architectural places inside Wuhan. And then we construct these timelines about these places that we visit. So this now is a poster in paper that we have to distribute. So when I, and we are also designing a website that will have this map, that one side is this, another side is this, but we are thinking about to make this for other cities that we stayed in China. We visit many cities in China during this stay. This is the propaganda that we made about our joint design studio, and many students from Brazil and from China, they work together projecting, and it was a very, very interesting way to begin in this partnership. And this is some production that our students made, some master plans around the one station of high-speed rail in Wuhan. That's a huge one. And they made this intervention projects and master plan for this space. And here, when I returned to Brazil, we made some seminars, and we made another joint design studio. So we continue to construct our relationship with many seminars and exhibitions. And we had one first exhibition that we win a prize in China. And then 2 students of us, they went to Wuhan to make this production with the students of HUST. So we had 3 exhibitions, one in Wuhan, China, another exhibition and seminar in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, and another exhibition and seminar in Moscow, Russia. So we tried to make this seminar and exhibition in Russia, because the Great Tea Route, this is a part of a connection between China, Mongolia, and Russia. So it's a huge route in Asia. So after that, I was invited to become a chair of the ICOMOS Brazil Cultural Roots Committee. So now I am trying to organize this new committee, because this doesn't exist in Brazil. And then we made together, Hust and Confucius Institute, this one exhibition about the Coffee Root National Monument. And the last one that I will show to you in details, that is the flavors that traverse mountains and seas, the Great Tea Root and the Coffee Root National Monument. But first, I would like to talk about why choose China, and why choose this connection between Latin America and China. And we believe that the most important way to be strong and to be geopolitically correct is to try to force, to construct, to develop the partnership between universities and architects and urbanists and parties from the global south. So this is one book that the name of the organizer is Vijay Prashad, that is an Indian, but he lives in England, and he has this production explaining in details what is the difference between global south and global north. So I like very much this map that in this green, almost blue countries that are from the global north, that represent the global north, and these more red that represents the global south. So for us, the title of this course that you are making here is about to decolonization. So we think decolonization is to empower the global south, independent of each country is governed by the right wing or the left wing, but we think that we must to play together this game. So here are the countries of the global north, and here are the countries of the global south. I will not detail this, but the link of this book is online in English also. So the BRICS is very important for this kind of thinking about the world and how we produce space and produce knowledge. So these are the actual official countries that are together in the BRICS Plus. And here again, we try to show you that how the United States was very powerful in 2000, and how nowadays in 2026, but this map is about 2024, China has influence in the world. And I think the architecture and urbanism area is not thinking about this. We are very few professors and researchers trying to study China and to make this connection. And I think China is our guideline. China is for us an example of good architecture, of high quality development way of treat the space. So here again, about Latin America, what changed with our trading relations of export and import, we changed totally. And this is very important for us. Here we have another 3 maps of Latin America in 2000, 2010, and 2024. I'm not seeing this number here, but again, China is each day more important for us in Brazil. We can see now, for example, I think the most important example is the Camaçari factory of BYD, how they are constructing a city there. I am going there to visit the factory. So we have also in this moment this new bio-oceanic railway corridor that will connect Bahia, Ilhéus to Shanghai in Peru. But we have also a project of Lula's government that is constructing many routes of integration, integration of South America or Latin America, but integrating with the other side in our continent. So this will be very important in a few years. And here we can see that the distance between Latin America and China and Asia, it will be very close, closer than is nowadays. So our commercialization and our connections with Asia will be more usually and more important. This is a thesis of Gabriela Bittencourt that was my student, and now she has a PhD, and Observatório das Metrópoles, that is one institute of science and technology in Brazil. They publish this thesis. So for who is interested in railways and the investment of China in our countries here in Latin America, she made many profound investigations about all the contracts for these railways and transport way of transport our products, not people, but products, so commodities. But I hope that in the future we could not just export commodities, of course. Well, now we will begin what we are beginning to study that in these last years, that is a comparative analysis between these two heritage routes. So here we are not talking just about the commercialization, the globalization in the sense of economic ways, but we are talking about how to put together the economic analysis with the heritage of UNESCO and other institutions that study heritage and cultural roots. So we have these concepts, many concepts, but we have a charter on cultural roots that was right in Quebec in 2008. And this is a kind of qualification of heritage that since then UNESCO is assuming as something important to the world. So we have this kind of conceptualization of the dynamic intellectuals exchange and diversity between different people, and how this could be nice for think the globalization in the world. But we here in our research group are very interested and think in our cultural roots in the global south. So I will show you some data that is important for us. And then the idea of the tangible elements, testimonies, and is very important for us, but we are asking about the authenticity because we are different from Europe. We, in the global South, our heritage, cultural heritage is in use. People are living in these places, and we are not so interested in the originality. This is very different from Europe and the United States and other global North countries. So this is a political act that we are trying to construct together. And I have one student of master degree student, the Aline Moraes, that is writing about this. So the first cultural route was Santiago de Compostela, Camino de Santiago de Compostela in Spain. And this was the first one, UNESCO World Heritage List in 1993. Then again, I bring this map because I will divide. We have approved by UNESCO as cultural routes, just 11 routes. So we have the global North routes and the global South routes. Sorry, because this is right in Portuguese, but we have this source here from UNESCO that you can see this information. And in the next, and we have so in the global South, and I think this is very interesting for us now, but in the future, to organize these routes like a potential way of construct technology about heritage, but about commercialization and about stay together. Then here is totally in Portuguese, sorry, but these are criteria for analyze these routes. So we have many criteria and they are used, but we have a huge list of routes that are trying to be approved by cultural routes of UNESCO. So we are working with these two cultural routes that I told you, that is the great tea route and the coffee route in Brazil, thinking about in the future what we can do with this kind of study and research. So one of the most important cultural routes for me is the Silk Routes. The Silk Roads, the route network of Chang'an Tianshan corridor. So this is approved by UNESCO, but including the app website is not working very well. So it's a little bit strange. I was looking for the source of this image and I didn't find. But these are the route that they design. That is not just one route. And this is very important to think in route like a network, like connections, like a rhizome, that something that connect many places in many ways, sometimes through the sea, sometimes through the desert, sometimes through the forest. So it's something that's not so specific, and we don't have many papers and literature about this, and we are trying to study in the beginning of our research. But for the global South, this Silk Roads is very important, and I'm talking about this because this is a way that China is inventing a new way of diplomacy that is a cultural diplomacy together to the economy. And we must observe this. We have the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI, that is very important for Latin America. Unfortunately, Brazil didn't sign this to be part officially of this Belt and Road Initiative, but we are the country in the Latin America that receive more investments from China. So I think we didn't sign this, but we are a strong partner of this BRICS. But becoming to our subject here, the cultural roots has tangible heritage manifestations. So hospitals, markets, ports, bridges, cultural landscapes, etc. But has also something that is intangible, that have cultural elements, that is processed through the communication and dialogue. So I think this is important for us in academy, how to collaborate with this kind of communication and dialogue. Well, something that is interesting, because we decide together, the professors of HUST, the University in Wuhan, that we will make together this research about tea and coffee roots. And one thing that is very important, and we are watching this happen in China, that China drinks coffee from Brazil each day more. And then we have this graphic that shows how many sacas, I don't know how can I say this in English, but this package of coffee that are exported to China since 2008 until 2025. And I think this year, 2026, it will be much bigger than this. And then there's some graphic in Portuguese also, but is the quantity of package of coffee that we are exporting, and how this is increasing these last years. Well, now I will show to you something that was the beginning of our research. That was one course that we had about the Sino-Russian 10,000-mile tea road and Hankou. That is one research that began in Wuhan, but in Wuhan University, together with Mongolia and Russia. So this is a precious book about this route. And in Brazil, we have this map that is the Rota do Café, Monumento Nacional, national monument, that was now a law that President Lula signed. And this is not our real coffee route, because we have our province, our other states like Espírito Santo, São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, that is together in these historical places of heritage, cultural, involving coffee in Brazil. This was just one beginning, I think, of this route, this design of this route, with just 47 cities in Minas Gerais. So we start to make these maps, these geo-reference maps, and compare. We choose 7 cities to compare the cities between the China, the Great Tea Route in China, and Hubei, that is the state of Wuhan, and Minas Gerais, that is the state of Belo Horizonte, UFMG here. And we try to organize this information with one spreadsheet that we have together, our partners in China, and we have some information. This is a interesting small book about this tea route, China, Mongolia, Russia, and we will see many names of this route, of this 10,000-mile tea route. We will have many names if you look for this information in the internet, for example. But they make something that I think very interesting. That is, first they map the place that has a cultivation of the tea, then the processing of the tea, and Hankou is a port in Wuhan, and they construct also some localities, that cities and points and villages that is in the middle of this route, that is about transport, and then the distribution, and then the sale for the other countries, and distribution and sale, and then the consumption, that is Moscow and St. Petersburg. So this is the line, and with this classification that I told to you now. And here is Hankou, and in China. I'm going to China now in actually in September, and I will try to make this route, all this route traveling. Well, here we have the coffee route in Brazil. This small piece of the coffee route that we are planning to make this huge in the future. But now we have this official coffee route in Brazil. And then we are trying to make some databases that have all information that we need about these cities. And we traveled with our students around all these coffee routes. So we visit many places that produce a lot of coffee. Minas Gerais is the biggest export of coffee in the world. So our province, our state, is very important on this route around the world. So we visit this with our students, and we collect a lot of data about this route. Here is just some economic comparison. I don't think this is very important. Some cultural data, I don't think this is so important, but one thing is that China is consuming a lot of coffee each day more, and Brazil is not consuming tea, Chinese tea. So I think this could be a way of incentivize this exchange of way of life and cultural, to start to drink tea made by China and not made by England, that is made by India, and that was robbed still from China some centuries ago. Well, these are our landscape. The landscape near is very different, and the way of treat the plantation is very different, but the landscape is similar when we travel around China. We can see, because we made this on our cartographic way, and we have many pictures of people working with tea, like here in the left, but we have many pictures comparing this, and this was in our exhibition that I will show you. So we try to make this analysis and compare these two roads, but like I was saying, we have other regions in Brazil, like Serra da Mantiqueira, between Minas Gerais and São Paulo. We have a special coffee route, for example, that is not in our official Coffee Root National Monument nowadays, but we visit some places also. And we compare in our analytic job the some we use some criteria to compare the cities in the Great Tea Route and the Coffee Route Monument, National Monument. So population size was one of the criteria. Historical importance in trade is another one. Climate also is very important to compare this plantation, and also how we live, how the agriculture of our country, Brazil, is very important and is based is the base of our economy. And then also we compare the transportation infrastructure. And then we have these 7 cities that we compare. For start, Wuhan and Patrocínio, Chang'an and Três Pontas, etc. This, for us, was very interesting because the size of the territory, like China, the cities in China are bigger than Brazil. So this is very interesting. And then the population size, the area, and the foundation of the city, and the GDP of the city, and other data. We compare this and bring a lot of images also. So I will not stay talking about this because I want to start the finish of our presentation here, that is to show the exhibition that we made this year. But here are some heritage that we found in these 2 cities, for example. So we have this material that is a visualization of our database. And then Yalundong and Carmo de Minas. Yalundong is one of the most important cities that produce tea in China, and Carmo de Minas is also one of the most important city in Brazil. And here the heritage, and then so on, so on. I will just pass here to show you some information. But Enchi City, Enchi was one of our joint design studio that I showed to you. We worked there. We visit many places, important cultural place, but also with an environment and landscape very, very traditional in China. And this in Hubei, the province of Wuhan. And then this was the first exhibition, and that the name is From the Tea Fields to the Ports, that happened in Wuhan, in Hearst University, that our student was there preparing. And then we made this exhibition here in Belo Horizonte. This is a piece of a journal, a Chinese journal that our exhibition was related. But here is our architecture school and some pictures of this exhibition with banners that Chinese sent to us, and we printed here and organized this exhibition. So after that, we made this for our coffee route and made one exhibition that's not here. I will not show this to you. But finally, we have here these 2 students, Aline Moraes and Beatriz Couto, that work a lot to construct this exhibition. In this year, that is Ano Cultural Brasil-China 2026. So is the year, the cultural year of China, Brazil, and Brazil. So we inaugurate this year, and then 22 of April of this year. And the Confucius Institute is the most important actor in this organization. But the Embassy of Republic of China also help us and others Chinese enterprises in Brazil. These are some images of our exhibition. Here we have, this exhibition must have a modulation because initially we will pass through 12 cities with this exhibition in Brazil, in 12 cities, in 12 universities that has Confucius Institute. Nowadays, I don't know if it will circulate, but in that time that we designed this, we thought that we must to make something to travel. But this is just our design. That in the end we have two maps: the tea route, the Great Tea Route in China, and another map on the right that is the coffee route, and a video, two videos, and coffee and some plants of coffees and tea. But we made all of this. I will show you pictures. Everything is very different from these images, but I think the idea is still there. And then this is the exhibition. This it's the map and the name of this exhibition. And this is our team here in Brazil. Of course, we had a lot of students in many courses that we make the database together, but the nuclear team of this exhibition, the curators and producers of this exhibition is here, and Professor Liu Xiaohu from Wuhan, and his wife, that is a teacher there, also Professor Shen. And this is one image from the top. So we have one side of that talks that show elements of one timeline about the history of coffee in the world and in Brazil, and some banners or posters that we produce about all the cities. And this right side we have some models that they printed of some heritage that is part of the Great Tea Routes, and some posters and banners and some pictures that we printed in a textile to have this transparency and this very, very beautiful building that is our reitoria da UFMG. And then here we have, again, we had in this inauguration many activities from the students of Confucius Institute from China and others, Confucius Institute in Brazil. So they were serving tea and explaining how to make a good tea, prepare a good tea. And here we have some pictures of this exhibition, and we put in these totems, I don't know how can I say this in English, but we put tea, the different kind of tea of some regions in China, and here in the left we put some coffees, so you can smell these flavors and these different kind of coffees also. And then these are the banners that we are producing a book, and I think it will stay ready I think in August we will have this book with all this content of this exhibition that is about the history of coffee in China and how to produce this, how to manage this, how to export this, how the Great Tea Route was organized by the countries in Asia, and how our coffee route is starting the construction of the information and a network for research. This is some we reproduce a tea tree, and here is in the night, the photos is better in the night, and here is in the day. And here is our map with some coffees and our four kind of situation of coffee, a tree with a lot of a lot of leaves, and then with flowers, and then with fruits, and then after the season of collection of these plants. And then we put also coffee in this package. I think people could experiment to put the hands inside the package and feel and taste and smell the coffee. I think this is great. And this is another student that helped us to organize a forum that we made in this day, in this exhibition. And yes, now I think we finish, and obrigada, thank you, gracias, and che che.